Cyclops 2 is pretty much invulnerable.
By the time we're done testing it, I believe it's pretty much invulnerable.
And that's pretty much what they said about the Titanic.
That's right. And I will go on all the first dives, put my money where my mouth is.
That was OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush doubling down in 2017 that his submersible, a version before the one that's currently missing, was basically invulnerable. But Rush has essentially put his money where his mouth is, since he is now on the missing sub, the Titan. Safety concerns, though, have plagued the Titan sub for years. On a trip last summer, the Titan lost communication with its mothership for 2.5 hours, which was documented in a CBS morning show segment. Back in 2018, OceanGate fired former employee David Lockridge after he said he raised concerns about the safety of the Titan. He said he advised the company to do more testing on the vessel's hull. Lockridge saying in court documents the paying passengers would not be aware and would not be informed on this experimental design, the lack of non-destructive testing of the hull, or that hazardous flammable materials were being used within the submersible. His comments coming in response to OceanGate's lawsuit against him, claiming he breached his employment contract by disclosing confidential information to OSHA when he filed a whistleblower complaint with the agency. Now, we are also learning that it's likely OceanGate didn't even have insurance for the Titan vessel, a chartered marine scientist telling NewsNation that the leading insurer in the underwater and marine tech industry, quote, wouldn't touch OceanGate with a barge pole and refused to insure them. He also believes that 4 to 5 other top marine insurance companies refused to insure OceanGate. Now, as we mentioned, the search continues tonight for the 5 missing, including a father and son, and British billionaire Hamish Harding. Joining me now is Harding's friend, Chris Brown, who had paid to go on the mission with Harding, but backed out due to safety concerns. Thanks so much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. So talk to us about exactly why you decided not to go on the mission.
First, a slight correction. It wouldn't have been on this exact dive necessarily. I just paid to go on a very similar dive. It was back in 2017 as one of the earlier investors in the program with the scientific view of going down and doing a 3D scan of the Titanic. They set different milestones where your deposit ramped up. So if they hit the first milestone, you paid more in the deposit. They constantly missed those milestones. They weren't hitting the depths that they were supposed to be doing, which was the first alert in my direction. Secondly, when they were doing some testing out in the Bahamas, I was aware of them using like industrial piping, scaffolding type stuff as a ballast, which I thought was a bit amateurish. They made a bit of a play on the controller, which sounded like fun, but I did think, well, surely you could have developed something a bit more professional. And then as time went by and they missed more and more depths, by the end of November 2018, I started pressing them on certification. And it became evident that not only did they not have certification, they weren't going to try and even get certification for going down to 3,800 meters once, let alone several times. And at that point, I thought, these risks are beyond what I can mitigate in my own head. So I withdrew from the program.
Did you speak directly with Stockton Rush, the CEO?
I didn't deal with them directly, no.
And
went through an intermediary.
Did you express any of your concerns to your friend who is now on that vessel?
I expressed my concern to 2 different friends, both of whom pulled out at different stages, not directly with Hamish, no.
I want to play a piece of sound from Stockton Rush because he talked about some of the safety issues and why he didn't think it was that dangerous. This is number 3.
I don't think it's very dangerous. If you look at submersible activity over the last 3 decades, there hasn't even been a major injury, let alone a fatality. What worries us is not once you're underwater. What worries me is when I'm getting you there, when you're on the ship in icy states with big doors that can crush your hands and people who may not have the best balance who fall down, bang their head. That's to me the dangerous part. But the scary part for most people is going down to 6,000 psi.
When you were talking to them about going on the vessel, is that what they said to you about the safety concerns? That, look, we're not really worried about the big picture stuff. We're really more worried about smaller injuries?
We didn't get into that detail, the discussion on the risks and dangers, purely because it hadn't progressed that far. I think my opinion on the risks and dangers are the complete opposite. I think moving around the mothership would be relatively safe compared to being in an experimental vessel going down to 3,800 meters. It's very deep.
Did they make it clear it's experimental? Because, we've had a number of people on who have been defending the company, basically saying everyone who goes on this knows how incredibly risky it is. And these are not tourists. They are explorers. They're experienced people, etc.
I'm not sure about their sales policy. I would definitely count myself as an explorer and aware of risks, probably why I pulled out. Hamish is a very experienced explorer, done lots of expeditions. He'd be aware of the risks. He took a different view on those risks.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the program, Chris Brown.
Pleasure. I must say, no matter whose fault or anything this is, the issue right now is we've got to save these 5 people. And our thoughts go out to the friends and family of those who are underwater.
Well said. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.